Reading furnishes the mind only with materials of knowledge. It is thinking that makes what we read ours. I have always thought the actions of men the best interpreters of their thoughts. New opinions are always suspected and usually opposed, without any other reason but because they are not common. The only defense against the world is a thorough knowledge of it. We are like chameleons. We take our hue and the color of our moral character from those who are around us. Parents wonder why the streams are bitter when they themselves poison the fountain. Education begins the gentleman, but reading, good company, and reflection must finish him. Being all equal and independent, no one ought to harm another in his life, health, liberty, or possessions. To love truth for truth's sake is the principal part of human perfection in this world and the seed plot of all other virtues. Revolt is the right of the people. No man's knowledge here can go beyond his experience. There is frequently more to be learned from the unexpected questions of a child than the discourses of men. So that, in effect, religion, which should most distinguish us from beasts and ought most peculiarly to elevate us as rational creatures above brutes, is that wherein men often appear most irrational and more senseless than beasts themselves. The Bible is one of the greatest blessings bestowed by God on the children of men. It has God for its author, salvation for its end, and truth without any mixture for its matter. It is all pure, all sincere, nothing too much, nothing wanting. To prejudge other men's notions before we have looked into them is not to show their darkness, but to put out our own eyes. All wealth is the product of labor. The great question which, in all ages, has disturbed mankind and brought on them the greatest part of their mischiefs, has been, not whether be power in the world, nor whence it came, but who should have it. Our business here is not to know all things, but those which concern our conduct. What worries you masters you. For where is the man that has incontestable evidence of the truth of all that he holds, or of the falsehood of all he condemns, or can say that he has examined to the bottom all his own, or other men's opinions? The necessity of believing without knowledge, nay, often upon very slight grounds, in this fleeting state of action and blindness we are in, should make us more busy and careful to inform ourselves than constrain others. Reverie is when ideas float in our mind without reflection or regard of the understanding. Few men think, yet all will have opinions. Hence, men's opinions are superficial and confused. The acts of the mind, wherein it exerts its power over simple ideas, are chiefly these three. 1. Combining several simple ideas into one compound one, and thus all complex ideas are made. 2. The second is bringing two ideas, whether simple or complex, together and setting them by one another so as to take a view of them at once, without uniting them into one, by which it gets all its ideas of relations. 3. The third is separating them from all other ideas that accompany them in their real existence. This is called abstraction, and thus all its general ideas are made. A sound mind in a sound body is a short but full description of a happy state in this world. He that has these two has little more to wish for, and he that wants either of them will be little better for anything else. Men being, as has been said, by nature all free, equal and independent, no one can be put out of this estate and subjected to the political power of another without his own consent. One unerring mark of the love of truth is not entertaining any proposition with greater assurance than the proofs it is built upon will warrant. Fortitude is the guard and support of the other virtues. Whosoever will list himself under the banner of Christ must, in the first place and above all things, make war upon his own lusts and vices. It is in vain for any man to usurp the name of Christian without holiness of life, purity of manners, benignity, and meekness of spirit. I pretend not to teach, but to inquire, and therefore cannot but confess here again that external and internal sensation are the only passages I can find of knowledge to the understanding. These alone, as far as I can discover, are the windows by which light is let into this dark room. For methinks the understanding is not much unlike a closet wholly shut from light, with only some little openings left to let in external visible resemblances or ideas of things without, which, would they but stay there and lie so orderly as to be found upon occasion, it would very much resemble the understanding of a man in reference to all objects of sight and the ideas of them. But what if he neglect the care of his soul? I answer, what if he neglect the care of his health or of his estate, which things are nearlier related to the government of the magistrate than the other? Will the magistrate provide by an express law that such a one shall not become poor or sick? Laws provide, as much as is possible, that the goods and health of subjects be not injured by the fraud and violence of others. They do not guard them from the negligence or ill husbandry of the possessors themselves. No man can be forced to be rich or healthful whether he will or no. Nay, God himself will not save men against their wills. opinions are always suspected and usually opposed without any other reason but because they are not already common. Nothing is in the intellect that was not first in the senses. There are 1,000 ways to wealth, but only one way to heaven. As usurpation is the exercise of power, which another hath a right to, so tyranny is the exercise of power beyond right, which no body can have a right to. And this is making use of the power anyone has in his hands, not for the good of those who are under it, but for his own private separate advantage. When the governor, however entitled, makes not the law, but his will the rule, and his commands and actions are not directed to the preservation of the properties of his people, but the satisfaction of his own ambition, revenge, covetousness, or any other irregular passion. No peace and security among mankind, let alone common friendship, can ever exist as long as people think that governments get their authority from God and that religion is to be propagated by force of arms. Personal identity depends on consciousness, not on substance. In transgressing the law of nature, the offender declares himself to live by another rule than that of reason and common equity. The most precious of all possessions is power over ourselves. It is ambition enough to be employed as an under-laborer in clearing the ground a little and removing some of the rubbish which lies in the way to knowledge.